I am so happy we're here tonight. I am so excited that I get to teach this art class and a grounding session with you. I am also extremely nervous. It kind of feels like getting ready for a wedding and having a baby all at the same time is the amount of anxiety I've had today. So if you're wondering where I'm at, that's where we're at. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and get us started with just a little bit of grounding and relaxation. If you don't know what grounding is, it's literally a form of meditation where you sit really straight and still, or you can lay down to really feel the full effects. You can lay down, but I don't like laying down. I like to just sit with my legs crossed and kind of do this. And then the point of grounding is to connect your core with the earth again, to kind of reach your center point. And for me, it helps calm my brain. And I have found that all other forms of calming my brain just don't work, but this one does. So the first thing you do before we ground is we're going to get all the wiggles out. We're going to get all of the wiggles out. Don't worry about what you look like. It doesn't matter. We're getting the wiggles out. You might need to stretch. Ooh. Ooh. It's gonna be great. Get them all out. If you have any itches on your face, get all of the itches off your face, because I know when I'm not fully ready, all of a sudden every single part of my whole body starts to itch and I can't stop touching my nose. So and guess what? We don't care how stupid we feel doing this, because it's going to make you feel better in the long run. And it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just people are only looking how stupid I look. So you're free to be you, girl. Okay. We are going to take a couple really big deep breaths as you're finding a comfortable position. Find your sit bones. Your sit bones are like the base of your spine, like your hips. We're going to find where those are and really just make sure we're comfortable on them. Pay attention to your breathing. Make sure you're breathing in and getting a full tummy, and breathing out and letting it all go. I like to place one hand on my heart and one hand on my stomach to really pay attention to my breathing. You might be most comfortable with your feet flat on the ground, or you might prefer, like I do, to sit cross-legged. Or if you want to lay on the floor, girl, you lay on the floor, you do you. I'm going to take one big deep breath together. And in this big deep breath, I want you to imagine that you have a root system that will come out of your spine. You keep breathing in and out breaths, paying attention to in and out so you can relax with every breath. I want you to envision that your spine is strong, and out of the bottom of your spine, you feel roots start going into the ground, through your chair, through the floor, into the earth. It doesn't hurt at all. It makes you feel good. Let those roots dive deep into the soil. Let them push all around. Let them journey deep through the layers, and see what you notice as your roots are growing around. Do you notice bugs, mycelium, crystals? Do you see a little family of mice living under a friend tree that you happen to go by? What does the soil feel like to you? Is it cool and moist? Is it warm and dry? As you're noticing what the soil feels like, I want you to tune back in to where the roots meet your trunk. And I want you to think of your body as the trunk of the tree. And I want us to start traveling upwards. Remember to keep breathing. I want you to see how tall your tree can grow. Right through your roof and into the clouds. I want you to see what it feels like when your branches start growing. What do your buds look like on the end of your branches? What do your leaves look like as they start to turn to big, fat leaves? Or are they teeny tiny leaves? You're going to stretch your branches as far as you can into the sky and soak up all the warmth of the sunshine. I want you to feel the breeze in your branches. I want you to notice what it feels like to be in the sky. We're going to start making our way back in through our branches. I want you to bring yourself back towards your trunk. Are you noticing any critters that live in your branches making homes by you? All the life you support with your life? All the nurturing you're giving the creatures who live around you? I want you to keep soaking in the sun's energy and warmth and love as we are traveling back into our core. Taking some more big, deep breaths. We're going to gently open your eyes when you're ready. Okay. Thanks, guys, for doing that with me. I needed to do that first before I talked to you so that I could be less nervous. Okay. So, thank you for coming to my first art class. As you can tell, we're doing grounding meditation and art. This is the first of many classes I plan on having, and you are so lucky to be at the first one. It's going to be a great time. The purpose of what we're doing is to help you de-stress and relax and kind of let go some of the chaos that happens in your everyday life. I'm gonna pop something off my phone real quick. I started using art as a form of healing about 4 years ago. I really started doing it 3 years ago once I realized what I was doing with it. Sometimes we have big feelings that live inside of us, and maybe you, like me, were told growing up that big feelings are bad. Crying is bad. Being angry is bad. Being too excited and too noisy because you're a kid is bad. And maybe, like me, you decided just to shove that shit down instead of dealing with it. And I learned the hard way a couple years ago that shoving it down is so unhealthy. And I reached a breaking point. I reached a point where I needed to do something because I was going to go insane and possibly unalive my whole family because I was losing my ever-loving mind and I needed to do something. So I turned to art. Art is something I've always loved doing. At one time, I went to college with a full ride art scholarship. Fun fact, it turns out I hated it, but I had one. So I've been doing art professionally now for a couple years, and I've made it a daily practice. I made it a daily mental health practice for me, and I have absolutely seen the benefits of it. So today I'd like to share how I do it with you by actually doing the process with you. So first off, in the comments, I want to know in the chat, are you participating? And if you are, do you have paints, markers, crayons, colored pencils? See, what else could you use? Yeah, those seem like the safe options of things to use. Paints, colored pencils, markers, and crayons. Colored pencils, perfect. And depending on the answer of majority, oh, thanks for being here for moral support. Perfect. We got a watercolor, we've got colored pencils. I have a box of watercolors next to me, and I also have a box of crayons. And I would like you to decide what I get to have. You guys have them all. Oh, paint and makeup brushes. That is so solid. They're basically the same thing. I don't think you have anything to worry about. Paintbrushes and makeup brushes are exactly the same. A grab bag, oh, whatever. Crayons, colored pencils, a few pens. Okay. So, what if I do both? What if I challenge myself and do both a watercolor and a crayon art thing? Shall we do that? I think it'll be fun. Maybe slightly insane, but sounds on brand for me. So, shall we get going? I think so. I'm gonna pause my video really quick so that I can move my camera and I don't give you guys like seasickness. So, one moment. I'm still here, by the way. Keep talking to each other in the chat if you'd like. How was your day? I hope you all had a beautiful, wonderful day. And if you didn't, you're in the exact right place because we're going to have a great time. Like the best time. Okay. Okay, there you go. This looks pretty good to me. This is what we're painting today. Okay, first thing you should know, this painting took me several hours, almost a full day, and we don't have that. So set your expectations slightly lower. I'm setting my expectations slightly lower. And also know that there's a solid chance you won't get done with your artwork today. But I want to give you the steps that we can take to do this together. And then you can continue this later if you want. So this is what it's going to look like, hopefully. We're going to trust the process and see what happens. I'm going to set it right here though, so I don't forget what I'm doing. Perfect. Okay. Let's start with some crayons first. Should I do this just side by side? Yes, I can do that. All right, we're gonna do two. This was not on my plan for tonight, but it just seems like a good idea. Crayons. I'm gonna pick a color scheme for mine. I'm gonna stick with the purples because that's my favorite and it's what I'm comfortable with today. I want you to pick a couple colors that you'd like to use. Let's start with about 5 colors that you want to pick. So I've got this one, and you can always add more later, but 5 is a good solid starting option to see what you want. I'm going to do purples and blues. And I'm going to use the side of my paper as a palette of sorts to kind of test my colors. If you want yours to be pretty like a finished art piece that you could hang on your wall, maybe you need a scratch sheet of paper. By picking the colors early, you're going to take a lot of the stress out of it. Let's pick another color. I don't like that one. Let's do this one. Okay, I've got my 5 colors for this one. And now I'm going to use my pick 5 colors for my paint. So this here. I'm also going to do this one in blue. I'm actually, blues and greens for this one. Why not switch it up, make it more difficult? I think that's a great idea. Okay. I'm going to pick this green. Again, I'm just swatching the colors right now. Because I have found if I'm trying to process things that are in my brain while I'm doing art, it is best for me to have to do very little thinking. And choosing colors kind of takes a lot of thinking. And I don't want to. I don't want to think right now. I want to let my brain relax. How are you guys doing with your color choosing? One more. Oh. Nope. This. I don't like that one either. Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's get started. The first step is to draw the body, like the butt and the legs of your mermaid tail. I like to start up a little bit higher on the paper so that I don't have to squish my tail up down the bottom. So feel free to use your whole sheet of paper. I'm going to draw a curved line right here, right at the top. And then I'm going to draw a long hook almost down here. You can do it. I know you can. You got this. You guys are cracking me up. Your faces. Okay. Okay. Next on this side. Don't remember. Don't worry. I have to do this twice. So we are not in a hurry. Okay. This one is going to go like this. Okay. We can alter the shape later, but for right now, you need to have these lines on your paper. I'll do them again for you. I think for this one, I'm going to use like a size 6 brush. It's probably my favorite size of brush. Okay. I'm going to do a light green. I'm going to slightly off center this one. I'm going to draw that hook again. And then I'm going to angle this one slightly more. If you're using watercolor, make sure that one, you're using enough water. If your watercolor isn't like making a full line, if it's just kind of stopping and you're running out of paint, do a little more paint and a little more water next time. Okay. Just gonna fix this shape here. It looked like a box and I didn't like that. All right. So if you're using a crayon, you're probably going to want to color with the lightest color inside of your legs. And if you're using paint, just do a very light wash. So that means you use a little bit of paint and a little more water. And you actually you can drag your paint around with more water. So that time with my brush, I just stuck it in the water and no paint. I'm just dragging everything around. Instead of freaking out when you're painting or coloring this part right now, I want you to focus on your breathing. Because remember, the goal of this class is relaxation, not mastery of art. I don't want you to compare your work to anybody else's. I just want you to do this because it makes you feel good. Take deep breaths as you're painting. I'm going to let that one dry a little bit. And as you can see with this, I didn't really get fussy about an even layer. I've got kind of splotchy parts and I've got like light parts, and I'm just going to leave it. That's going to be the character of my mermaid. Now for coloring, I don't want any of you to judge my coloring skills because I exclusively color for my 2-year-old. My other children can do it on their own now, and only the almost 2-year-old needs help. So my coloring skills are literally usually scribbles across the paper before he rips it out of my hands. So this is what we're working with today. I'm using my lightest color so that later I can add scales. Remember to breathe the whole time you're doing this. Sometimes when I'm making art and I'm nervous about it or I'm worried about how it's going to turn out, I forget to breathe. I realize I hold my breath for most of the time I'm doing something. And that absolutely defeats the purpose of this. Because you can't have good endorphins go to your brain if you're not breathing. Oxygen is important. Okay. Now, we're going to do a part that I don't want you to be nervous about, okay? We're going to make the fins. All right. Can I tell you a secret to all of these fins? they are just lines. They're just lines. There's nothing special about any of them. Every single one of them is just a line that I drew. And the line that you draw is just like your handwriting. Everyone's is different. Everyone's is unique. And that's okay. We don't need to worry about what our lines look like or if they're curvy enough. Your mermaid is unique and it's going to be fine because we are doing this for funsies and to relax and to just have some time for ourselves. Okay, so let's do it. I'm going to start with the crayon one because it's right in front of me. You can use any of the colors that you want. I'm going to use my dark one. I want one to go up over here. That's fine. Okay. And this one's going to go down. Think of this as like all your cursive. If you were ever trying to make the ends of your cursive, like the tails of your cursive letters look really good, this would be a great place to try that out. You could have a curly Q tail if you want, like just like lots of curlies. It's totally up to you. It's your mermaid. I literally have no idea where this is going. This could be a dumpster fire at the end, and we're still going to have a good time. It doesn't even matter. Okay. Okay. I like that shape, I think. I added lines until I liked the shape of my tail. So as you can see, like the shape of my tail is going to be like this. So it kind of flares up on this side. And you can just keep adding these foundation lines until you like the way it looks. I'm going to go ahead and work on the painting now. All right. Hey, and you know what else? Please don't compare your art to mine. And here's why. I've drawn like 50 mermaids. It's not a lot, but like it's a decent amount of mermaids. And to compare your first mermaid to my 50th mermaid be super unfair. It's like if you're at the beginning of a journey and you're trying to compare it to someone who is like already at the top of the mountain and you're at the bottom of the mountain, it's going to look totally different. So no comparisons. I think I like that shape. Okay. Now, I'm going to keep my watercolor mermaid. Well, thanks. I will have art for sale soon. So thanks for that plug. All right. Next, you're just going to draw more of the tail. Do you see how in this one, I got my main shape that I liked, and then I just filled it in. So on a couple of these, I made long line, like big thick lines. I made skinny lines. I added lots of different colors, and I just kept going. And it felt like forever. We don't have forever today, but you can get like a pretty solid base started on your mermaid lines. Follow the shapes you already have. Okay? Sound good? Okay. I almost just painted my crayon one, and that would have been kind of sad to me. Okay. I am going to add in some lines here. I'm going to follow the ones I already have. I'm going to make some thick, some thick lines. How are we doing? Are we all okay? Do any of you need moral support? Because I can absolutely pump you up if you need pumped up. This is a fun, leisurely mermaid. We are not animating for the next Disney movie. We are just drawing a mermaid, and it's going to be beautiful. As you're drawing all these lines, I want you to just take some time to think of all the things you're thankful for. Like every line could represent something you love, something you're grateful for, something you are just like, wow, what an absolute blessing that is right in front of me. Let's write it down. And that's what your line's going to be. You know, I used to try keeping track of all those things. I remember a couple of years ago, gratitude journals were a really big deal. Like so many of my friends at church had gratitude journals, and they were all so good at writing in them. Like they had these beautiful things, and they would take time at the end of every single day and write down everything they were grateful for. And I just remember sitting there looking at them being like, one, how do you know you're grateful for that many things? And two, I would just be grateful to have the time to do that. Because like for real, I absolutely did not have the time for a gratitude journal. But you know what I did? I bought this craft paper journal, you know, the brown paper that was all the rage in like 2015, that everything was in craft paper. If you went to my wedding, you know, it was we had lots of craft paper. But I bought myself a journal. I made it look all pretty on the front. I added stickers, I added bows, I like drew something on it. I wrote one list. I wrote like 10 things on the first page, and it's still sitting on a shelf somewhere. Like I never picked it up again. Never, because I put it away and then I forgot it was there. And then my ADD said, nope, not today, Emily. That thing's going to disappear for the rest of your life. And that was really sad to me now that I think about it, that I just couldn't even do it. But wow, this is kind of looking like an octopus. Well, if I end up with a squid instead of a mermaid, that'll be fine. So now, instead of writing things down, because let's be real, my ADD could never allow me to write things down that much, I put my gratitude into my art. When I'm doing things like this, I like to sit in silence or with gentle music that's not distracting. And I like to just think about the things that I love about my life. Not every time, but at least once a week when I'm doing art, I like to do gratitude art. And it's not something I have to think about anymore. It's just something that happens. It's become part of my daily habit. And I think I'm a better person because of it. Now, you may notice that as you're going along doing this, you have big open gaps like this. And you may think to yourself, couldn't I just color that in? And yeah, absolutely you can. You can absolutely color that in. No one's stopping you. Like, girl, if you just want to be like, this spot is gonna be blue. Who's gonna tell you it can't be blue? Not me. It can be blue. She can have one big blue stripe on her tail right there. Boom. See, easy peasy. Doesn't have to be complicated. Doesn't have to be hard. Not everything in life has to be hard. I know. How dare I say that? I feel like, especially in the Midwest, no one says it explicitly, but it's kind of assumed that if it's not hard for you, and if it doesn't feel like super hard work, then it's not worth doing. And that's bullshit. So, not everything has to be difficult. You're allowed to do things just because you want to. If something's easy, it might mean that you're really good at it. And you shouldn't be ashamed of that. You should be proud of what you're good at. Oop, that color looks like the other colors. That's okay. I kind of want to do my watercolor for a little while. So I'm going to switch for a minute. If you're doing this and you're like, I have nothing to be grateful for, there's nothing in this life to be grateful for. I want you to look outside and I want you to look at a tree or a flower or clouds or stars, because that is absolutely something to be grateful for. Or maybe you have a cat. And your cat is grateful for you, even if they don't seem like it. Your dog is absolutely grateful for you. Maybe you have a fish. They're grateful for you too. Otherwise, they'd be sitting at the pet store. And that's no way to live. So that fish is grateful for you. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful you're here. I'm grateful you're breathing on this earth. I'm grateful that you're willing to give up a little bit of your time to come be here with me tonight. By the way, what I'm doing right now in my watercolor is I had some lines up here I really disliked. I didn't like them, so I'm just blending them in with more water. It's the beauty of watercolor. If you don't like it, just put more water in it. It'll go away. Also, you could use a magic eraser and it takes it right off. All right. Thanks. Sorry, I'm slow to looking at the chat because it's over there and I'm here and I'll see it. Okay. I'm gonna add some more colors to my watercolor mermaid. This one. How are your tails coming? Are you further along than I am? Because I feel like I'm going real slow. I'm looking at one. Hey, that's, you didn't paint that. I painted that. I see you, Jordan. Thanks for showing my art. That's funny. so fun. Okay, we're gonna just keep going. Is anyone feeling relaxed yet? Or is this stressing you out? Also, I realize it's hard to chat in the comments, in the chat section, and paint or draw or color, because they both take all of your attention and your hands. So I'll just assume we're having a good time. Okay. All right, we're gonna do a couple more lines for our tail, and then I'm actually gonna have us move on to something else so that we don't spend the next like 30 minutes just working on our tails, because they are super fun, but I think you probably got the hang of it now. Also, my pro tip for the tails for like this, more is more. You can just keep adding more lines forever, probably. At some point, you'll have to say, okay, I have to be done now. But honestly, when you add more lines, it'll just make your tail look more full and more majestic. And there is nothing wrong with that. Embrace the extraness of this project, because I sure as heck do. And even though I won't probably be able to finish all of these tonight, I will be finishing them. I don't know if you just noticed, but I absolutely smudged my watercolor. I ran my hand through wet paint, and I just went through with some more water and put it right on the spot I messed up and wiped it off, and now it's gone. Oops, it got on this one too. Okay. I'm going to set this one over here to dry for just a teensy bit so I don't rub my hand through it again. And then I'm going to show you with this one the next step. So our first next step are these little fins right here. Okay. They're super, super simple. Actually, I'm not turning that upside down yet. I'm going to use one of my colors, and I'm going to go in, and they kind of look like little wings. I'm going to go down and connect it. And I think I'm going to pull it up like this. Also, it looks like a little skirt. And I'm going to do the same to the other side. Kind of looks like a little peplum top for the mermaid there. And I'm going to add like another little swoosh underneath there, like this. For anyone who's just recently joined me, yes, I am doing a watercolor and a crayon art mermaid, because this is the chaos I strive for. Basically regular basis here. Okay. So that's what my little flares look like on this lady. Now I'm going to add my flares on this green lady. I guess it could be a merman. You don't have to make a mer lady. It could be a merman. A mer person. Okay. Dark green for this one. Okay. Boop. And another floop. Okay. Well, that one got a little carried away, but that's fine. It's fine. Okay, I'm going to add another one here. I'm going to cough. So, my apologies for coughing too, by the way. I had allergies that turned into a chest cold that turned into, oh my gosh, Canada is burning and now there's wildfire smoke all over Iowa. And it's so fun. Okay. Are we done with our little swooshes? Yes, I see head nods. Okay, good. Next step, I'm going to go back to the crayon one for a second. I'm going to turn my painting upside down for this. And we are going to draw the scales. You see here? Whoop, nope. There we go. It's too close for my camera. Anyways, they are just C's. Scales are C's. And I like turning mine upside down because when I turn them upside down, I actually start at the bottom, which is the top, and I go up, and then they look like really nicely layered. And I prefer to draw arches going this way instead of this way because I can keep them smoother for longer. If you want to leave them right side up, you can. I'll show you really quick. This will be a challenge with crayons because they are not that pointy. Okay. Is this the color I want? Yes. All right. So this is what they're going to look like. And you don't have to draw all of them, okay? Because we don't want it to necessarily look like we just go ploop, 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 ploop all over the place. You can draw some that go together. Maybe add some more over here. But you don't have to draw all of them unless you want to. I'm gonna draw one here. Because maybe she's been through some stuff. Maybe she's missing some scales. Maybe she's a klutz and she keeps running into rocks and it keeps like taking some of her scales off. Because that's what I would do if I was a mermaid. I don't think I'd be a graceful swimmer at all. As we're drawing the scales and you're deciding if she's graceful and has all of them, or if she's maybe kind of a klutz, I want you to kind of think of some things that you're not so graceful about. It's hard to think about those things. But as you're thinking about them, I just want you to release them. What are some things? You can start with the easy things like I am a klutz. I run into walls all the time. Release. I don't have to accept that for part of who I am. It just is something I'm going through for a long period of time. We're gonna let it go. I am not very graceful about getting upset. So if I feel like I've been wronged or hurt, I shut down. I need space, but sometimes I take too much space and leave people wondering if I'm mad at them or if I just can't talk to them anymore or what's going on. Maybe you need to give yourself grace on maybe you're wrong about something, but you don't want to admit you're wrong. And that's okay. We all do that. And maybe you knew you're wrong right away, but you just wouldn't admit it because you couldn't give up the pride of saying that. And we are just releasing them. We're letting it go. We're getting them out of our brain because we don't need that weighing us down. Maybe you said something hurtful to somebody you love. And you know that they know it was hurtful, and you know that you feel bad about it, and they probably know you feel bad about it, but you don't know how to say sorry. We're going to let that go. But we're also going to think about how we can say sorry so we can grow and we can be more graceful next time. I just had that happen, actually. I said something hurtful to someone who was close to me, and I knew immediately that I had hurt their feelings, but I was so upset with how my day was going that I couldn't be bothered to say sorry. And then they called me a couple of days later and they're like, hey, something you said really upset me. And I was like, yeah, dude, I know. I already know what it is. You don't have to tell me. I'm so sorry. And like, it was fine. No one was mad. But in my head, I made it a big deal. I made it something that was like, I can't call them because now it's been so long. I'm prideful about it. And it was super unhealthy and it was eating away at me. And I showed zero grace that day. But I'm glad they knew to call me so they could say sorry. I could say sorry to tell me that I needed to say sorry, but I already knew it. So it was fine. I'm gonna add a couple more scales right here in this one. It's all about growth, my friends. There's never a point in our lives where we just like stop, where we just go, okay, I'm done being a good human, or I'm done. This is what I'm doing now. No, man, like I think you're either always growing forward or like I think stagnant, like if you're doing nothing, in my mind, it's kind of like a backwards motion. Like it's okay to be stagnant for some time because sometimes you're going through some stuff and you just need a break. But then you can always start again. And I think that's important. Okay. As you're releasing the things that need grace in your life, you need to give yourself grace for, and you are working on your scales. Feel free to color some of them in if you want. You can color some in. You can add more colored. So maybe you want to like double up on your scales here and just add more colors in. Feel free to do that. I'm going to work on my painting now. Okay. I'm just sticking with my 6 brush for the whole time because it's simple and I don't have to think about all these other brushes I've piled up over here. Okay. So one of the reasons I wanted to create these art classes was because I feel like so often, instead of growing and becoming better humans, which sometimes mean facing the hard things, we would prefer to numb out. I know this because I used to do it all the time. And sometimes I still do it. Like some days I just need to turn my brain off and not think about anything. And I'll like scroll TikTok or YouTube for a while, longer than I should. But I used to do it a lot, like as a coping mechanism. Like instead of just doing the thing I wanted to do for real, I would just scroll. And I think I did this for two reasons. One, maybe three reasons. First, like social media gives you an instant dopamine hit, but then you're searching for that dopamine hit over and over and over again. Two, sometimes it's easier to numb your brain out than it is to make a decision. And it's easier to numb your brain out than it is to like face something that you're trying to avoid. And again, sometimes that's okay. But when you do it for too long, it becomes kind of a problem. Three, if you're anything like me, if you are a mom or someone who makes a lot of decisions in a day, like you have a very strenuous work life and a high stress job, you don't even want to decide what's for dinner at night. Like, why do you think we have meal planning? It's so that we don't have to decide that every single night. At the end of our days, whether when you clock off from your job or you put your kids to bed, it is exhausting, like actually exhausting to even think to make one more decision. But I also know that we don't want to do nothing, because when we sit and we do nothing for long enough, we kind of forget who we are and the things we like and the things that we enjoy. And when we forget who we are, it gets kind of scary out there. We start absorbing everything else from all the other places. We start absorbing what we see on social media. We start absorbing our friendships. And sometimes that can be okay, but sometimes our friends are in such a dark place with us, and we just need something to pull us out of that. When I started doing art daily, my screen time went down drastically. You know how your phones can tell you how much time you've spent on your phone? First off, rude. I don't want you to tell me what I'm doing on my phone all day. I don't want you to tell me how many hours I've been scrolling on TikTok. Like, what a jerk. But also, wake up call was when I didn't realize it. But one day, I spent like 6 hours on my phone and I couldn't tell you what I was doing. I swore there had to be a glitch, but then it happened again. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm paying attention to this. This is right when I was like really at my lowest point. I was zoning out for probably 6 hours. I don't know. When was that? The middle of the night? Was I just not sleeping? Was I just scrolling on my phone all night? Or was it during the day when I just couldn't bear to do the tasks that I needed to do? So when I finally got into a good routine of setting time for myself to do art daily, almost daily, there's some days where it just chaos ensues and it doesn't happen. But when I started setting time apart, my hours on my phone dropped. I was hardly on it at all. I didn't feel the need to get the dopamine hit from TikTok or Instagram. I started to be able to be more present with my family because I was giving myself time for myself. Like I was giving my brain space to breathe. And honestly, isn't that just what we need sometimes? Just space to breathe, space where no one is telling us what to do. We're just in a zone, focusing on something we love that makes us feel good, that is not self-harming or damaging to anybody. And bonus, art makes the world a more beautiful place. Now, I'm getting really sick of drawing scales, by the way. So this green lady is gonna have some weird looking scales. And that's okay, because remember, they're beautiful. How's it going? We've been doing scales for so long now. Like so long. Okay. I just want to make sure I show you all the steps, because I don't want us to run out of time. Like, we're good on time, but I don't want us to run out. With my watercolor one, I'm kind of switching back and forth with my colors to add, well, one, because I'm kind of sick of doing them. And I ended up really liking the way switching back and forth looked. So that's awesome. And okay, while we are doing this, first off, I want you to know that you now have all the steps to make this absolutely beautiful. We have all the foundation pieces. We've got the scales, we've got the body, you know how to make the tail. We can do all of these things. So as we're all working on these together for the next while, I would like, if you'd allow me, to tell you about this new thing I'm doing. I think that's okay with most of you. Yes, I see head nods. Okay, great, fantastic. Okay, this is the part I'm nervous for. I might forget how to speak, but that's okay because you're all friends. Thank you for this being a judgment-free, safe zone. Okay. And I'm glad that we're still working the art, so you don't have to see my face with how, like, I think I just turned pink, but that's okay. All right, I'm gonna work on this one. I'm gonna drink some tea. I set my notes here so I don't forget what I'm gonna say. Okay, I am making an online art community, and I'm really, really excited for it. I've kind of always known, not kind of, I have always known in my heart that when God made me, I was made to share my life journey. And for a very long time, that scared the living daylights out of me. Like, actually, this just scared the poops out of me. I remember one time I was in between colleges, aka I took a year off. I kind of dropped out, but it's fine. I went back. Anyways, I was in between colleges and I was on this retreat, this thing. And it was a church thing. But the guy told me, first off, I had no business being there. But this guy told me, he prophesied, and he was like, you are going to bridge a gap. You are going to have people listen to you. And when they listen to you, they will light up. And I was like, what? He goes, they will have spotlights on them. Like, you will speak and they will have spotlights. Just shoom, spotlight. And that was a very long time ago. That was probably, let's see, 32, 11 years ago, 12 years ago. And for that whole time since then, like, I've been through some stuff. And I just kept thinking, how am I going to use my journey to help people? Like, how am I going to share this with people? I tried other things and like none of it felt right. And then in 2020, right as I was realizing all of the crud I had going on in my life and that I really needed to fix it, I started to turn to art to help me feel better. And I realized I was processing my feelings through my art. Like every line I drew, every paint stroke I brushed, I was processing it. And I just kept doing it for the last 3 years, 2020, 2021, 2022, and now we're halfway through 2023. That's just what I've been doing. And I realized I've always done that. Anytime in my whole life that there was something going on big, I would do art, even when I was little. And then right around winter solstice, so the end of last year, beginning of this year, that whole time frame, like it was just given to me in a vision. I was sitting in a sacred space. Like I had just made like this whole time for me to just sit and just absorb whatever the Holy Spirit needed to tell me. And it was made abundantly clear to me that this right now is what I'm supposed to be doing. And when I tell you I was scared because it felt so right, it was terrifying. Like I cannot stress that enough, the fear, because of the rightness of it. So for the last 6 months now, I have been building what started as an idea. It has been turning into a business, and I am going to have an online art membership for healing. So like a healing art. And it will be a weekly class online where we do this for about an hour and we just like hang out. And it gives you a space to build a habit of making art. Because that's kind of the hardest part, is setting the space aside for yourself. And this will be dedicated time for you to do this. I'll also have the option of just like dropping in once in a while, like for the week. That's totally an option too, because like we don't all have time to do this every week. But the benefit in being the membership is that you can watch all of the replays of all of the classes, because I'll record them all and I'll post them all to our membership site. And we'll be building a community of people, I'm guessing mostly women, who just want to feel better, who want to set some time for themselves and stop scrolling and stop worrying about what's on Instagram and TikTok and just do something for themselves that they don't have to decide. I decide it all for you. And you just get to show up and do it. And it's going to be really beautiful and really awesome. So it's a private online community where I invite you to reconnect to your true self through guided meditation and art classes. And I think it's going to be amazing. Like absolutely, absolutely amazing. I kind of like to think of it as yoga for your brain, because I have ADD. I got diagnosed with that last year. So that makes things make a lot more sense to me. That's how I've always been. But the other great part about that is I found something that works for me to help my brain relax when nothing else did. When I go to a massage, like I can't stop talking the whole time. I'm sure it's really obnoxious to people, to my massage therapist. Like I've tried a lot. I can't do yoga. It's just too quiet. I start thinking about things that make me laugh and I feel so dumb, but that's okay. So I do art, and maybe you need that space too, and that's okay. We're going to have that space together. I think my purple tail is done. How are you guys coming? I don't think I want to mess with it anymore. Well, maybe. Right there. Okay. I say that and I'm just going to keep touching it. It's fine. All right. I'm going to color in some of these scales. And so like the purpose of my membership class is not mastery of art. Like you're not going to learn how to become a professional crayon artist in a month. Like it's not what it's for. What it's for is so that you set time aside for yourself for real. So that you can take a break and you can do it. And you can like sit and relax and de-stress and de-chaos your life for just a minute. Because I think we all need that. And then you don't have to be scrolling on your phone. Like you can do it after your kids go to bed. If you're in the membership, like I'll have all the classes available for replay. So if you can't make it live, if something happens, you can just watch it again. And the other bonus of being in the membership is I am currently working on a bunch of like art basics classes. And whoever is a member right now will get to tell me what types of things they want to learn first, because I need to know what you want to know. Do you need to learn watercolor basics? Do you want to learn about acrylics? Do you want to learn about charcoal art? I mean, we both have to learn that together because I did that one time and it's terrible, but I'd be willing to learn it for you. We can try all the things together. I mean, I don't think I'll probably go into like pottery or clay stuff because that seems like it's going to take up more space than I have currently available to me. Because I don't know if you saw behind me in my office earlier, but it is like a disaster. But I did decorate today to make it look less chaotic. So you're welcome. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a really great time. And for the next week, I'll have it open and then I'm gonna close it for the next month so that I can work with my founding members to kind of see how we want to build it and if we want a Facebook community or if we want a group chat on some fancy expensive chat platform. Like you just have to tell me these things and we're gonna like work it all out and you tell me what you want to learn. And if you want seasonal things, like maybe in the fall, sorry, I started talking fast. Maybe in the fall, I'm really excited. We can like paint pumpkins or something. I don't know, like maybe you want to do something cool. But for the next week, I'll have it open for my founding members. And that will be $55 a month, which is the founding member price. And you'll get 3 live art classes and 1 pre-recorded art class, plus all of the extras I'll be building with your recommendations. And that's for a lifetime of your membership. So it's a reoccurring subscription until you cancel it. And you can cancel at any time. But as long as you're a member and you sign up in the next week, you actually get that $55 forever. So if I do this for the next 10 years and you stay a member for 10 years, first off, thanks. Second off, you're going to be locked in at a $55 price. And everyone else, I can promise you in 10 years, will be paying a lot more than that. Probably in the next year, more than that. So, I mean, what does that make it? What's 55 divided by 4? I did this at one time and it's like a ridiculously low amount. Hold it. Math is not my strong suit. I'm an artist, okay? 55 divided by 4. Nope. That's $13.75 a week for an art class that I teach you. I'm excited for this journey too. Like really excited. There's also the weekly drop-in price, and that is not discounted because there's like nothing like that's just for me to teach you, and that's $33 for every time you drop in. So it's really a better deal to just join the membership. So the first month, you only have the next week to sign up for it at the founding members price, and that'll never be offered again. Okay, how are we coming on our mermaids? Are we doing good? Does anyone want to show their mermaids, or are you like, absolutely not, I don't want to do that? Oh, there's one. Oh my gosh. Oh, I have to make this bigger so I can see all your mermaids. Hold up. Oh my gosh, that's a great mermaid. Is that your first ever mermaid? Yes, yes, no?
Yes. Yeah.
Good job, it's amazing. Erin, I love it. It's so
Pretty, show it again. I missed it.
okay. Erin, yours is so fantastic.
No, that's
Oh,
not mine. Wait, who's it? Which Aaron? A different Aaron.
Here's
Dude.
another Erin. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so good.
Emily, I have a question.
Yeah.
How do I blend like this part where
Are
you
you-
can see all the lines from the, oh, is it really gonna blur it?
It's okay. Are you using pencils? Right?
Colored pencils, yeah.
Okay. So I just added more darker crayon on top of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, what did I do on this one? Yeah, I literally just left it. Like it's just a hodgepodge in there of all the lines. It is what it is. You could actually take the darkest color you have, which is which for me. For example, I'm gonna do black so you can just see what I'm doing here. Okay, you could take a black and have it go up into there in a very pretty fashion. Like, don't clump the blacks together, and then you won't even notice the all the other ones behind it. It'll just distract your eye from it.
That's nerve-wracking.
You don't have to do it. I just said an option. Clearly, I left all of these just out there willy-nilly. I also don't know how I feel about the black on here, but you don't have to use black. You can use whatever color you want as your darkest color. Oh, now I have to add more black. All right. We're going with it. All right. I think this might be part of my too much gene coming out, but it's fine. I'm embracing that part of me now. We added fringe. It's cool. All right. I added fringe to her fins. Okay. Oh. Does anyone have any questions they want to type in the chat or comments or like, this was awful, Emily. What are you doing? Actually, don't say that because I won't believe you anyways. I am going to put my link in here real quick. And just know if you click on it right now, I actually don't think it works because when I checked this before I did my class, the whole entire website was down. Like my hosting service, not me. It was just really great timing. Yeah, it's not working. That's okay. So I'm going to be sending this out as a recording later, probably tomorrow. And I'll have the link to my website in there with the offer page that I told you about. And I would love to see your guys' artwork. If you're watching this later, or if you're working on it now and you're like, I'm not getting a camera to show you. If you want to post it on Instagram and tag it as #EEJ Creates, I'd love for you to do that because I want to see your artwork. I mean, you don't have to, but it would make me really happy. And I think it would make you really happy to see all of our friends' artworks too. So, yeah, got a few more minutes. And I think I'm just going to close this down with a little bit of like good breathing exercises. You can keep working on it if you want, but I'm going to close down our space with some ending grounding. Okay. Okay. I'm going to sit back again, get in my comfy spot. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. As we're breathing in, I want you to think of all the good, warm, and fuzzy feelings that you felt today. And as we're breathing out, I want you to let go of any negative things like it living in your brain. We're going to do that again. Breathe in and think about the good things. And I want you to do a big breath out, push out any negative energy in your body. One more time. In. And okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. I had an absolutely beautiful time with you.